In this 3-part CPF series, I will review my entire CPF balances and discuss with you my long-term CPF strategies to help you lead a fulfilling retirement life. Today's video, I will be talking about the ordinary account, the OA, and how you can make it work better. Do check out my other videos on the special account and the MediSave account in the playlist. What's up guys, my name is Christopher and this is Honey Money SG. And in this channel, we are all about building financial knowledge, teach money saving hacks, and also help you lead a fulfilling quality of life. So like I said, in today's video, we are going to go in depth into the ordinary account and how you can use it better. So let me start off with explaining some of the usage of the ordinary account. You can actually use your CPF OA to pay for a number of things. That includes your housing, your investments, your term insurance, and your education, with terms and conditions attached, of course. And then in terms of the CPF allocation rate, you can see that if you are under the age of 55, 23% of your CPF contribution will go into the ordinary account. So that will form the largest part of your CPF balances. So let me take an example here. If you have a $3,000 of gross salary, $690 of it will actually go into your ordinary account. The CPF OA also earns an annual interest of 2.5%. And the bonus tip here is actually to contribute or top up your CPF balances to a combined balance of $60,000 so that it can gain additional 1% interest. And of course, that has a cap of $20,000 of OA, so you want to have $40,000 in your combined SA and your MA balance to gain that 1%. If you are 55 years old and above, it goes even sweeter. You gain an additional 2% interest on your first $30,000 and 1% additional interest on your next $30,000. So all these kind of interest rates are actually much higher than the bank interest rates right now in the market. That's why you may want to consider topping up your CPF. But if you are one of the CPF haters that want to return my CPF, or you believe that CPF is not my money, then this video is not for you. But if you are here to learn on how to better use your CPF to actually fund your retirement life, then I recommend you to like this video and subscribe to the channel because I will have more about this coming up. Okay, now let me start with the most popular topic of what you can use for your CPF. Housing, specifically BTO public housing by the Singapore government. So for those who are unfamiliar, you can actually use your CPF ordinary account funds to actually pay for your Singapore BTO flats or even private property for that matter if you have enough. Now the golden question here is, should you use cash or CPF OA to pay for your housing loan? To me, it depends on the few assumptions that you have. The opportunity cost of using the CPF OA is actually at 2.5% because that's the annual interest generated by the CPF OA account. So if you're someone who is investment savvy and have done your own investments using cash, such as putting your money in Singapore REITs in this video that I've done before, then it may not make sense to use cash to fund your housing loan because the investment returns are much higher than what CPF OA is giving you at 2.5%. In other words, if your cash can generate more than 4 or 5% compared to your CPF OA generating 2.5%, you will actually want to use your CPF OA to pay back your housing loan because your cash can be made for better uses. So this is a very simple situation, right? Now let me take it a step higher. The situation now is you actually need to gain more than 4% on your investment in order to make paying your housing loan via CPF worth it. Why? Okay, let's picture this. Because the full retirement sum right now at 186k is the maximum amount you can put in your special account to gain 4% interest. So what that means is that I am able to put in more money into my CPF special account that gains 4% interest that is almost risk-free because I can do an OA to SA transfer as long as I have not reached the full retirement sum of 186k. So do you think your cash can generate better than 4%? If the answer is yes, then it is good to use your CPF OA. Because the better way to pay your housing loan is actually to transfer your OA to your SA since you don't need to use it for paying your housing loan anymore, and then use cash to pay for your housing loan so that the funds in your SA can earn 4% interest. So now your opportunity cost is actually 4% instead of 2.5% if your full retirement sum has not been met. So if this sounds confusing, do leave your questions in the comment section below and I'll try to explain it better for you. So the strategy I'm going to adopt here is I will actually pay my housing loan using CPF OA. And the reason is because I am likely to reach the full retirement sum in my special account before I even collect my BTO keys a few years later, which means I can no longer transfer from OA to SA to hit the full retirement sum because I already hit the cap So my opportunity cost is only 2.5%, and that will be fairly easy to beat in an investment. Which brings on to my next point, investing. In order to qualify to use your CPF funds for investing, you need to have a minimum of 20,000 in your ordinary account and 40,000 in your special account. So any funds above the $20,000 in your OA and $40,000 in your SA can be invested. However, let me put it out right here that I do not recommend you to invest your SA because 4% annual return is hard to beat, especially with SA's low risk environment. And also the products offered for special account is not really that attractive. So long story short, don't invest your SA. Now coming back to the OA, I have actually done quite a few videos on it on Endowus. You can check out my links over here where I talk more about it in depth. But just to give you a quick overview, your CPF OA can only invest in a specific class of investments that are regulated by the CPF board. So the type of investments have to be reviewed and approved by the CPF board, and not all are qualified. And also take note of the transaction fees and the quarterly fees if you are holding a CPF investment portfolio. So in order to use your CPF to invest, you first have to find a brokerage that accepts CPF as a form of funds for investing, and also go to one of your 3 local banks to set up the CPF investment accounts. And then some of the brokerages actually can help you set up that CPF investment account as well. Personally, I use Endowus, so they set it up all for me. And my strategy here is actually to invest every fund above 20,000 in my CPF OA and go into my Endowus portfolio so that I can earn a far better rate than 2.5% in the OA. But would I recommend everyone to do it? The honest answer is no. The reason is because most people who invest using their CPF actually loses money. They think that CPF is not their money, so they can just throw it away and then don't do any kind of research on what they buy. So the better way is actually to do an OA to SA transfer until your SA is near the full retirement sum. Then you come back and think about whether you want to use your CPF OA for investing. This is just my recommendation, not financial advice. Anyway, do check out my Endowus video, and if you want to sign up for Endowus, you can use my referral link down below. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about CPF OA is you can actually use it to fund for your education. So for most people, it's actually not their own education but their child's education. There is a CPF education loan scheme for approved institutions, and that includes your local polytechnics and universities. So it's only applicable to full-time undergraduate programs and diploma programs under the CPF approved institutions list. And of course, if you use your CPF OA to fund your education, CPF will need to charge you a 2.5% interest rate a year. So that is the opportunity cost. Then you have to think about it whether it is more worth it to take up a bank loan for your education or 2.5% via the CPF loan. My take on this is education loans are generally quite cheap in Singapore, and you can even get up to 0% if you pay up within 1 year after graduation. So I wouldn't want to use CPF because I'd rather my CPF funds stay inside and then compound interest for long-term growth. Alright, with all the long story said, let me now review my CPF OA balance, and you can see it over here. Okay, no surprises here because most of my funds above 20k are actually invested in my Endowus portfolio, and you can check my earlier videos on Endowus investing, and every 2 months I'll probably do an Endowus portfolio update so you can see how is it doing and whether you should invest in it or not. Okay, then I can sense a question coming already. So what are you going to use for your housing if you don't have only OA funds to pay for it? So fortunately, my flat price is rather affordable, and the housing subsidy already covered some of that down payment, so I don't really need that much OA funds to fund the second down payment and the mortgage repayments. And then when my housing mortgage payment starts, right, I will actually reduce the amount that I put in Endowus monthly. So part of my monthly CPF contributions will go into my housing mortgage payment, and then the remaining will go into my Endowus account. So my OA balance is most likely remaining at this $20,000 limit. The key point here is to live within your means and make sure you can finance your house without going too much into debt. Because too much debt can actually hamper your retirement, and you may need to actually work for longer years to actually fund your retirement because of such debt. The alternative here is actually to sell out my Endowus investments when my house is almost ready, so that I have enough CPF OA funds to push down my mortgage payments. But that is actually not recommended because in investing, I want to go for it in the long term, and I don't want to liquidate it when I need to. So that's just my personal strategy, and by no means I am asking you to follow my style, but it's for your consideration information to 参考, you know. Okay, so I hope that by sharing my CPF OA balances and my strategy, it can help you develop your own strategy for financial management and retirement planning. Do like and share this video to your friends and family who may find this knowledge useful as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you will not miss another videos about CPF. Check out my other videos here which are related to financial knowledge and money saving hacks. My name is Christopher. This is Hunting Money SG, steering young adults to financial independence.